You're welcome back to Politics HQ and News Central Television. A war of factions and the new Nigerian People's Party has led to the expulsion of one of the party's founding members and presidential candidate in the last election, Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso. Although Kwankwaso's expulsion has been greeted with a smirk by the other faction, it has raised dust across the country as to what has become of a party which ruffled feathers a few months ago. Kwankwaso's expulsion was announced by the factional National Publicity Secretary of the NNPP, Abdulsalam Abdulrazak, on Tuesday, a few days after the party's factional leaders resolved to probe the mismanagement of 1 billion naira raised from the sale of forms. Nevertheless, there may be some dramatic days ahead as the Kwankwaso faction of the party has laughed off the expulsion of its leader and dismissed its veracity. Now, joining me tonight in Politics HQ is Ladipo Johnson, National Publicity Secretary of the NNPP. Now, Mr. Johnson, let's get straight into the action. What's your reaction to this purported expulsion of Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso from the NNPP? How did we arrive here in the first place? And it's said that some faction of the NNPP is laughing this off. What do you make of this?
Thank you. Firstly, well, I'm the National Auditor, not the Publicity Secretary. The erstwhile Publicity Secretary was one of the people expelled from the party by the National Working Committee.
Thank you for that.
Also, I must say that the purported suspension and later expulsion of Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso by that renegade group that set up shop in Apapa, Lagos is just a non-issue. They are not recognized by INEC. They're not recognized. They were expelled from the party. And since their expulsion, you've seen the news has, the internet and the newspapers have been awash with all sorts of spurious claims. 1 billion naira in forms. Our party was not one of those that sold forms for 100 million each. So I don't know where they got their figures from. And they never mentioned all those things when they were still within the party. Now, being out of the party, they lack the locus. They lack the locus standi to ask anything. That's one. Two, as at yesterday, sir, there was an order of a high court that has stopped them in the interim from parading themselves as leaders or officers of the NNPP, from conducting interviews, generally saying that they are the NNPP or the working committee or board of trustees or what have you.
Sorry, Mr. Johnson, I would like to comment at this point. So, according to what we've established so far, the decision and that statement to expel Senator Kwankwaso has run foul of the court's decision to cease and desist from parading themselves as principal officers of the party following the court injunction yesterday. Just to get that clear, from this expelled members, according to your submission.
Sorry, I didn't get you. I heard the run foul of the court decision.
Yes, because you did say, yes, you did say that there was a court order that prevented this expelled members of the NNPP from parading themselves as principal officers. And then less than 24 hours later, they came out with a press statement saying that they've expelled Senator Kwankwaso from the party. Does this mean they've run foul of the court order? And it doesn't hold water. The expulsion is just a mere pronouncement.
You see, the basic thing, sir, is that they were not in a position to have suspended him in the first place, let alone expelled him. They're not in the position, they're not recognized. They said it happened at a NEC meeting. I don't know which party in this day and age holds a NEC meeting in some part of the country that's not the capital of the country. Apart from that, INEC was not informed. They're not recognized by INEC. What we need to ask them and what Nigerians need to listen to and think about is how do you go from complaining that your suspension by the NEC, I was chairman of the disciplinary committee, that your suspension by the National Working Committee and ratification by the NEC was illegal or too high-handed. They complained about it. So, okay, they complained about it. Now, without appealing it, either within the party or outside in a court of law, they now go all of a sudden, within about 5 days, they now say they have another National Working Committee. These things don't work that way. The party is run by with the use of a constitution. We are beholden to the Electoral Act, to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So things have to be done properly. You don't just gather yourselves in one corner and say this, oh, we've said this, and that is what it is. And you spend so much money getting things into the press and everything. We know that they have those who have sponsored them or are sponsoring them, and those who want, the whole point is to damage the image of Senator Kwankwaso. We know where it's coming from, and some people who were members of our parties have lent themselves to such an agenda. It's a pity it has happened, but we are taking mature steps to make sure that gradually we bring an end to it. You only have a peaceful truce with those who really want peace and want to bring the party together and move the party forward. If you find people being sponsored and people who are recalcitrant and will do anything to continue to cause damage, then you have to make sure that you push them out of the party. If
now, Mr. Ladipo Johnson, I'd like to pick up from that point where you said moving the party forward. And in a democracy, opposition, a viable and strong opposition, makes for a great democracy. And there's a saying that a house divided cannot stand on its own. So what's the genesis of this infighting in the NNPP? And are there any efforts or attempts at reconciliation? Because we've seen that there's litigation, like you've mentioned already, where there are steps to reconcile differences between factions of the party.
Yes, you're right. That in a democracy, you have people with various ideas, varying ideas and standpoints on various issues. However, if you have people who have run foul of the constitution of the party and you take disciplinary actions against them, and they do not seek to use the processes laid down within the constitution of the party, or seek to use the courts and just go out to damage or try to damage the party, then you begin to realize that these people really are not people who want the progress of the party. Now, even if you bend over backwards to bring them back in, I tell you, they will probably do the same thing quarter to elections. It is good that this is happening at this present time. We're still about 3 years out from the general elections. We have some off-season elections in Kogi, Imo, and Bayelsa in November. And they are doing their best to make sure that the party is unsettled. But as I said, it will just take a while. The party will be settled, and with or without them, we will continue to grow the base of the party and to work towards giving Nigerians another option apart from the current ruling party.
Now, Mr. Ladipo Johnson, there seems to be a media blitz from this faction of the NNPP. Most newspapers and online platforms are not even mentioning a faction of the National Working Committee. They're reporting it as it is. What's the official response from Senator Kwankwaso's camp? We are going to get one. How do you respond to this?
I couldn't hear it clearly. They're reporting it as it is because I'm sorry to say the press in Nigeria do not seem to do their work properly. No one has asked them that this issue started out from them complaining about the disciplinary procedures within the party. How do you go from that to saying that you are the party where there's constitutionality? We had a convention. We were elected for 4 years. The party has its constitution. There are ways that you can remove officers of the party. You haven't done any of that. You just go and you sit in Nakpapa and say, you are the party, you are doing this, you are suspending this person. And the press do not ask questions. And you say, yes.
I mean, the press minus News Central, that's why we're talking to you,
because of the sort of
yours
system that
truly.
we run. It's because of the sort of system that we run. It would not happen in any sane clime. They would ask questions. As they're asking of us, that why did you suspend them in the first place? They'll ask them. I said, did you go to court? Did you go through your constitution? One of them went to court and his case was thrown out in Ogun State because the court stated that he had failed to utilize the procedures within the party, within the constitution. And there are a plethora of cases from the Supreme Court of Nigeria, which says that you have to go through the processes within your constitution before you come outside. But they've done neither, and they've just started to say all sorts of things.
Now, Mr. Johnson, where is the party as far as litigations are concerned? Because at the end of the day, it's your word against their word, and it's the court that would decide at the end of the day. Where are we at the moment, and what's the bone of contention?
The bone of contention, look, where we are concerned, really, there's no bone of contention. We have some people who unfortunately have been moved out, have been expelled, some suspended. That is it. Now, we had to go to court to state that, look, you have to rein these people in. They are not the officers of the party. We sued INEC as well. INEC, come and tell the court who the officers of the party are. And that is because we found that no one was asking questions. It was just, oh, press release, boom. Someone, is Kwankwaso, Senator Kwankwaso, is he an officer of the party? Is he the one that sold forms? But no, the press was willing to say, oh, they say he should account for $1 billion. Did he sell forms? Or is he an officer of the party? You understand? So these things are so disappointing. Not
Very
because
important,
I'm involved, because I've seen that, look, you don't just, someone comes with my profession, I'm a legal practitioner. One, you hear the other side. Two, you look at the root of title. If you want to buy a property, you come to a solicitor. What we'll do is who owned it before, and then who sold to him, and then who sold to him. It's called the root of title. You must ask logical questions. Oh, Mr. Agbojo, you were the publicity secretary, national publicity secretary, up till last week. How come you are now the national acting or whatever national chairman? Oh, Mr. Ogini, you were expelled. You went to court in Ogun. The court threw you out. How come you are now
Very poignant questions you've asked, Mr. Ladipo Johnson. I really wish we had the time to go on, but I must say thank you for always honoring our invitation, and we hope to have you and the other faction at the same time so that we can look through these issues and air the grievances and let the people decide. Thank you very much, Mr. Ladipo Johnson, National Auditor of the New Nigerian People's Party, NNPP. Thanks for your time and your insight.
Thank you.